Hey there, movie fans. It's time for a new episode of the MOVIEMANTZ Double-Feature. I'm your host, Scott Movie Mantz. It's been a while since I did one of these, and I just got busy with a lot of year-end stuff. Now we're into 2021, and I watched a couple of films recently, and I thought that would make a great double feature, putting these two films together, putting these two superheroes together. So what are the movies? Well, how about Superman 2 and Spider-Man 2? Okay, do I have your attention? Good, because let's get right into it. First, let's talk about Superman 2, directed by Richard Lester. I'm doing the Richard Lester version. US release date is June 18th, 1981. Budget of $54 million. Domestic gross $108 million. Worldwide gross $190 million. Not bad for 1981. The other film is Spider-Man 2, directed by Sam Raimi. Release date June 30th, 2004. Budget of $200 million. Domestic gross is $374 million. Worldwide gross $789 million. Oscar winner, won an Academy Award for Best Visual Effects. I love that. A Spider-Man movie won an Oscar for visual effects, and it's also an Oscar nominee for sound mixing and sound editing. So why do these two movies work as the perfect double feature? Well, of course, let's get to the obvious. Both of them are among the greatest and most famous superhero movies of all time. One of them for DC, of course, is Superman. The other is Marvel, and that is Spider-Man. Both of them wear red and blue costumes. Both characters are so iconic that there was a comic book crossover back in the 70s putting them together. That's how big they were in their respective universes. And look, both of them work at newspapers. Clark Kent, of course, works for the Daily Planet. Peter Parker works for the Daily Bugle. Another reason these two movies work as the perfect double feature is that they are both superior sequels. Now, in the case of Superman 2, for a long time, I felt like Superman 2 was better than Superman 1. But as I've gotten older, I love Superman 1. I think it's the greatest superhero movie of all time. But what I love about Superman 2 is that now that you have the origin out of the way, you can get to telling a really good film with a lot of action, which that movie does. And then there is Spider-Man 2, same thing. Now that the origin story is out of the way, you can get into telling an excellent stand-alone film. And both movies have great villains. You have the Phantom Zone villains, especially General Zod in Superman 2, and Doc Ock, Dr. Octopus, played by Alfred Molina in Spider-Man 2. Both films, really at the heart of these movies, they are love stories. You have the love story between Superman and Lois Lane, or as we come to see in that movie, Clark Kent and Lois Lane. And in Spider-Man 2, you have the great love story between Peter Parker and MJ, Mary Jane Watson. Now, here's where these films really have a whole lot in common. And that is because in both of these movies, the main superheroes lose their powers. Now, in Superman 2, it was a conscious decision on the part of Superman, of Kal-El, to lose his powers, to give up his powers and be human so he could be with the love of his life, Lois Lane. In Spider-Man 2, the loss of his power was more existential. He was having an existential crisis. And as a result of that crisis, Peter Parker lost his spider powers. And then he realized that he was better off without these powers, and he could just go back to being a student, focus on his grades. Now, here's the other reason why these movies make the perfect double feature, and that is because even without their powers, these characters, they are heroes anyway. In Superman 2, now, after Clark Kent and Lois Lane make the drive back to Metropolis, that long drive, and they stop off at the diner, well, Clark Kent picks a fight with the wrong guy, but he does it because he is standing up for Lois Lane. And in Spider-Man 2, his rise to the occasion is much more epic, because even without his powers, Peter Parker runs into a burning building and risks his life to save a young kid. He did it without his powers, but he did it because it was in his character to do so. And of course, both characters get their powers back, and boy, do they do so in the nick of time, especially in Superman 2. Wow, what a great ending that is. Now, here's the other thing that's kind of interesting. Not only are Superman 2 and Spider-Man 2 connected, but Superman 3 and Spider-Man 3 are also connected. For one thing, a lot of people hate these threequels, especially Superman 3, and a lot of people don't really like Spider-Man 3 either. But in Superman 3, Superman is exposed to a faulty chunk of kryptonite when Richard Pryor's character substitutes an unknown element with tobacco to create kryptonite. Now, that kryptonite doesn't kill Superman, but it makes him mean. Same thing in Spider-Man 3. We have the black symbiote that makes Peter Parker mean. Peter Parker's version of mean is a lot more comical, and I think that's a big reason why people hated Spider-Man 3. That whole middle part where he's dancing down the street and he plays the piano, it really does bring the movie down, even though I love the rest of the movie. But in the case of Superman 3, when Superman turns mean, and there's that big fight between evil Superman and Clark Kent in the junkyard, that scene is the best scene in the movie, and I think it really saves the movie. I think I like Superman 3 more than a lot of people, and that scene in the junkyard is a big reason for it. And I also think that scene in the junkyard between evil Superman and Clark Kent is the closest we've gotten yet by far to a fight between Superman and Bizarro. I really hope that happens in the movies one of these days. But anyway, so there you go. That's the reason why I think Spider-Man 2 and Superman 2, and by extension, Spider-Man 3 and Superman 3, do make great double features. Now, I know you're going to go back and watch Superman 2 and Spider-Man 2 before you do the 3s, but check out the 3s and, maybe they're not that bad after all. Now, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube page. Make sure you share this video with other movie fans, especially fans of Superman and Spider-Man. And did I mention, please subscribe to my YouTube page? That would really, really, really be cool. Till the next episode of the Movie Mantz Double Feature, here's looking at you, kid.